All right, welcome back to College Football Addiction. Blake Ruffino, AYS Sports, the Ruffino and Joe Show. Blake, how you doing, bud?
Good. It's TJ in this sidebar, but in this little fitness journey I've been on the last year and a half. I wake up around 5:30 every morning. Go get a little pump, try to look like The Rock and then look like Paul Blart. And man, I got to tell you, it's 46 degrees in the great state of Louisiana this morning. My nipples were like, oh my God, what's going on here? And so now I get to wear a sweatshirt and get to turn the AC and heat off in the house. So I get to save money. So it's a great time of year.
Yeah. It's getting a little cooler in Florida, but it's still in the afternoons, like 85. So we're not quite there yet. The mornings are pretty nice, but then you get out in the sun. The kids get home from school and they're like, hey, can we ride bikes? And I'm like, it's too cold. It was too cold in the morning to get back in the pool because the temperature doesn't rise enough. But also, I don't really want to go out and sweat. So, but anyway, we go out and sweat every day. So
Yeah,
we're getting close, though.
We played football all day yesterday. So I'm like, at least the weather's nice around here. At least it was 71 degrees. Perfect football weather.
Yeah. No, we'll be there in 2 months. It'll be great in January.
might get snow in Tallahassee again. Who knows?
Maybe more inches again than wins at this point. So before I get depressed, let's talk about your depressing team, not mine. Okay. LSU with as much of a must win as you could imagine this week with A&M coming into town. People know this, and so we don't have to spend a ton of time on it. But is this the most important game of BK's career at LSU?
Yeah, listen, I've said this, TJ, in the past, that it's like every time that he doesn't win a big game, the next big game becomes even that much bigger, to a point where, TJ, we had to have a conversation twice this week about people calling for him to be fired, and I'm like, listen, man, we live in a realistic world. I don't know if I see that happening right now. The truth of the matter is you're 5-2. Do I expect you to win out? No. But are you still technically in it? Yes. And so I think that there's a lot of things that go into this, but they're not happy. And listen, LSU's just not a place that you can go 8-4. You win it last year, and it was a little bit of a TJ for me, and I don't say this, every day in LSU circles. You came off of a season in 23 where you had 2 first-round wide receivers. Both of them were top 10 in the NFL last year, by the way, in receiving. You had the NFL Rookie of the Year and the Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback. And defensively, you weren't ready. And BK had to rebuild, right? A lot of people blame him for 23. And I sit there and say, well, man, it's a tough situation to be in the sense of, look, man, you had a rebuild from 30 scholarship players. You were way ahead offensively. You got a dynamic quarterback. But I just sit here and say, now you're in year 4. And so what's the excuse? TJ, you've missed in recruiting from high school recruiting. And listen, I know other places do, but you can't do that when you're only the only P4 program in the state. So it's not in a good spot. This is a win or die scenario for a lot of people this week on that staff, not just Brian Kelly. LSU loses on Saturday. I can easily see, myself and others, breaking offensive coordinator, O-line coach, whoever it is, fired. So yeah, it's very stressful time for that coaching staff.
Yeah, and there are a couple of games on the schedule that should be a little bit easier, but there's also 2 past this one, and we'll talk about those when the weeks get here, I'm sure. But there's also 2 other games. You talk about, they're still alive for everything. There's still a ceiling of 10-2. Now, neither one of us expect that at this point. But there's a floor of 7-5. And then at that point, you're like,
He won't make it if that happens. I'm just going to tell you. $50 million will be found very quickly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, the desperation, which, I don't know how much this matters in football games. I think we sometimes play it up too much, but I do think there is an aspect of it that matters. If there's anything you're LSU and you can kind of hang your hat on, right? Execution is going to matter in this one. And so is offensive line play, and so is Cassius Howell, and so is Marcel Reed, and so is Garrett Nussmeier, and all these other things too. But LSU should absolutely be the more desperate team, the more wounded animal, playing at home. And A&M, it's almost like we've been waiting on that moment from A&M all year. And I'm not saying that. Maybe they go undefeated, man. Like maybe they don't ever have that moment. But I do think everybody in the back of their minds, probably even A&M fans, if we're being honest, are just waiting for that, here we go again moment. And I'll tell you, man, I mean, you know this better than anybody. Going into Death Valley and playing a team that is desperate and has a lot of talent is definitely a trickier situation than just playing hot seat Brian Kelly, right? Like, so both things are alive right now, but I do think the idea of like what they've got to go accomplish this weekend is very real.
Well, look, and even A&M, I can make the you could call it an excuse, but TJ, it's supposed to be pouring down rain Saturday night. I mean, listen, I don't mean this in any wrong way, but it also tells you where a fan base is. TJ, I have a lot of buddies who aren't going. I mean, to be honest with you, I have a buddy of mine that runs a pretty successful business, and they have 25 season tickets. Now they sell them, it's for, like booster points and stuff like that, why he buys them all, but that's neither here nor there. They're not going. And so, the toughest place at night to go might not be, you talk about wounded animal mode, the fans are mad.
Yeah.
Like, listen, TJ, they got called out. Now, if we're going to rip the Band-Aid off, let's rip the Band-Aid off. The fans got called out by Brian Kelly. Oh, you got to help us support. All right, sounds good. All right, well, we'll do it. Here's $18 million. I mean, you went with the same quarterback, same OC, and you failed. So at least right now you failed. So I have no idea, zero idea what to expect from this fan base on Saturday to even make that place what it is and to what it be. TJ, the weather's perfect. Gumbo, I saw a gumbo cook-off. Me and my daughter just went to have lunch, and people were already cooking gumbo, and I'm like, it feels like that time of year where people gonna come in here and don't survive. Like I've seen Alabama have to struggle when they won a national title and they beat LSU by 1, and LSU's a 9-3 football team. I've seen them come in here in 22 and lose when they probably should have been a national title team. So I don't know where this one goes, man, to be blunt with you. I don't know where this one goes in reference to that. Saturday will show you win, lose, or draw, I think, from the opening kickoff where this fan base is. Yeah. If it starts getting empty, it's going to start getting really bad, and we'll see what happens here. Look, you're in a very peculiar situation here with everything that's going on. So, I know I'm spinning around in a lot of circles, but I think that, TJ, we're smart enough, and we're starting to get gray hair, so I think we know this enough.
Way too much.
Way too much. Where
I'm beating you there. You got a better physique now, but I'm beating you on gray hair. So take that.
Thank God. Well, you don't want me to take this hat off, so. But I would just say, as we get older, not everything. And look, you talk to coaches, I talk to coaches, boosters, whatever. It's not black and white situations. It's always moving. So you're right. LSU is the tiger or dog that's backed into a corner. How are you going to react to it? I've been asking this for 3 weeks now. Look, you lost to Ole Miss, then you won, then you lost to Vandy. Look, man, are you about to go through the same thing you went through last October? That's up to you, because we gave you everything that you asked for, and then you kind of spat in our face with the success or lack thereof on the field.
Yeah, what's interesting to me, and just more from a big picture, and then we'll talk about the actual game, is when like fans get called out or blamed or anything like that. Like, it's certainly, fans at LSU or UF or Florida, a place like that, they can certainly have an impact, in a stadium, in a game. But man, the fans, hey, thank you so much for watching. Just want to quickly give some love to our friends over at Sleeper. Make sure that you have the Sleeper app downloaded. On Wednesday, we will play the More or Less game on the Power 2 Live. Hopefully you can make some money with us. If you do up to 100% deposit using our code CFA, you will get a 100% match. But if you don't want to deposit, we have a free $20 play for you. You don't need to pay anything. Just get your free $20 play on the Sleeper app. Use our code CFA. The link in the description will auto-populate it. Make some money with us. Check their terms and conditions, because terms are used to apply. Now back to the video. Most of the time, the fans show up and do what's asked, right? From giving money I mean, they're the ones paying these people's salaries. They're the ones that keep these athletic departments going. And so this idea is, of oh, the fans, not that that's been this week's mantra. Oh, the fans aren't supporting, but man, the fans are, man, they're the ones that keep this thing afloat a lot of times when it should, not just at LSU, but everywhere.
I mean, look at
And
Florida.
so,
I mean, look at Florida. They had a lame duck coach, and they're
yep.
packing out stadiums. I mean,
Against Mississippi State and USF, like they've sold out like 15 games in a row. Like I would love to give Florida all the crap in the world. Their fans are legit, right? Like they keep showing up. I wouldn't keep showing up. I'd be like, get this sucker out of here, man. I ain't going to this crap.
yeah, find that $100 million.
Yeah, get the money, boy. You're like, but yeah, I mean, so anyway, all right, on the actual game. All right, let's start with, we usually start quarterback, but let's go Cassius Howell up against that O-line and just that offense that has struggled a ton. I mean, you just send extra guys his way. Like that has to be the game plan at this point.
Yeah, or just get the ball out quickly. But the problem is that you got a quarterback that constantly makes bad decisions. So, I mean, look, you got a new left tackle. I think Cassius Howell is one of the best edge rushers in the SEC. I mean, he could have a field day. And you're right. You got to help. You got to chip. You got to put a tight end on that side. I mean, you got to do everything you can. TJ, it's funny. You bring up Cassius Howell first. LSU played Dylan Simpson two weeks ago, and they ran the ball right at him on the first play. So I have no faith that they'll probably run the ball right at him in the first play and say, "Oh, look at us." I mean, you're replacing a left tackle in Tyree Adams, who's a top 50 guy in recruiting, who's been actually, ironically, in a big loss for you, him not going this week. He's been your most consistent offensive lineman. He's been really good. He's been really the only good offensive lineman this year for you so far. And he's not going to be able to go, and you're moving your center from last year who got beat out. You're moving him out to tackle. It's not a good situation to be in. And so if that doesn't work, then you're going to a true freshman. I know that Carius Kern was a 5-star. He's not a tackle. He's a guard. He's a 360-pound guard that you're trying to put at tackle. That's not going to work on Cassius Howell. So, there's a couple of things here, TJ. I look at A&M in that pass rush, though. They're giving up way too many yards from quarterbacks that actually can run and are not scared to run. There was the last 3 games of just net rushing yards from the quarterback. They're giving up over 8 yards to carry. Garrett Nussmeier's not going to do that. So let's just, nip that in the bud. But it also comes to part that they can be very undisciplined. But in the undisciplined play, I said all that to say, in the undisciplined play, they get to the quarterback very effectively. And so you're going to have to do a lot of things to try to mitigate Cassius Howell.
On the other side, I guess even before I get to read, I'll go one more before quarterback. But on the other side, just the explosivity of their wide receivers, Craver and Concepcion. Obviously, the weather could impact what they're able to do with some of this. So not to steal some of your answer there. But, how much does, LSU still got a good defense, but how much does those two guys getting loose and A&M at times just kind of living on that shot play? What were your thoughts there?
I live with it. They're going to get theirs. It's like I remember Kirby in the postgame versus in both SEC championship games, the last 2 LSU went to. They asked him about like Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase, or they asked him about Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas. And he goes, listen, that's great. They're going to beat us. We got to stop the run game. Yeah. Well, so TJ, here's my thought. I'm not a better DC or defensive mind than Kirby Smart, so let me use what he said. You got 2 really good wide receivers, and you got some really good corners on your team. Mansour Delane, I just got to be honest, I think was the biggest transfer that nobody really wants to talk about. I think he might have been the best transfer just in the country. He might even have worked himself in the first overall as the first overall corner per Mel Kiper, and regardless of what you think of Mel, in all of that, I can live with them throwing the ball deep and hitting big plays on you, and it might get ugly because of it. What I can't live with is what happened last week, what this team in A&M did to you the year before, and letting Marcel Reed and letting I know Le'Veon Moss is out, but letting Reuben Owens and E.J. Smith and those guys get rolling. I think the biggest lie for A&M so far this year is, oh, man, they're so explosive. You're right. Everything's set up through the run game, though. Everything. Whether it's the inverted veer play action, whether it's the zone read play action, the RPO off of it, TJ, everything they do is based off of how Colin Klein wants to set up the run game. And if you back out, they're gonna run it on you. And I listen, for me, maybe it's just because I'm a big guy at heart. I don't want teams running on you. Stack the box, and if let Craver, let Concepcion beat you. That's where I go with it. Okay. Now, is that the smartest thing to do? Maybe not. But at the same time, if you're able to force Marcel Reed into obvious passing downs and situations and can contain him, TJ, he's 15 out of 16 starting quarterbacks in the SEC on third down accuracy rate. The reason that they're 72nd in third down is because, like Notre Dame in the fourth quarter, or Arkansas in the fourth quarter when they couldn't put that game away, or Auburn in the fourth quarter, what did they all do? They got him into predictable downs and distances and said, Marcel Reed, if you hit it, great, but we're going to take the odds-on chance that it's a 50-50 shot. You're below 50% of accuracy rate on third down and third down 5+. I think that's the only way you beat him, to be honest with you. I think it's the only way you contain him. So that's what I would personally do. But every time that I come out, and tonight I'll do like our keys to victory for LSU. Everything that I say, you never do. So let me just say the opposite. Play coverage. Play all the coverage possible, and then go that route, and let's see what happens.
You know what it reminds me of, to look at another team playing two games? I thought Florida State and Louisville did a really good job of stacking the box, not letting Miami run for 100 yards, and saying, Carson Beck, if you can beat us, congratulations. And he was able to in Tallahassee. He had a couple of deep balls to Malachi Toney, and against Louisville, he couldn't, right? Which is interesting because, obviously Louisville's a better team than Florida State, but to be able to do it on the road and at home, a little different there. Not that Louisville is incredible defensively. They're talented enough, obviously. But yeah, I think that's the risk of the game you play, is you're not going to run us to death, right? And if you can beat us with your arm, we'll take what you're maybe second best at and live with the results. Because
and look, what did Florida State do in that second half? I mean, with all due respect, I know that everybody doesn't want to give them credit for coming back. I mean, that's a one-score game there late in the game, and I'm thinking to myself, I mean, so TJ, what happened? Okay, so we got to talk about what happened in the biggest critical moments. Malzahn's constantly calling stuff, and Castellanos is converting on third down. And then the same thing with Miller Moss with Chris Bell and all the third downs that they converted. No. I mean, the thing I said last night on our show about this game was, you got to suffocate the time of possession. You can't let it. I think of like LSU's best team of all time. What did Auburn do in 2019? They suffocated the guy behind me. They suffocated the time of possession. Oh, wait, who was the head coach? Oh, that's right. So you take away the things that they do best and what they want to do first, and then you start limiting them. I mean, you gotta make this kid sit in a pocket and throw the football to have any shot at whatsoever. And I don't, let him. TJ, I will come into a post game on Saturday saying, good on that kid. But until then, until you do it and actually get there, I mean, then what are you doing? I think you got to do that, and I think it's a great analogy. And to your point too, by the way, Louisville was 113. It's 113th in the country in rushing, and they ran the ball. They played time of possession. So, I mean, it's not, so what LSU has it, we can't run the ball. Well, you found running lanes with a 5-star running back. Who would have ever thought that the number one running back in the country last year would be able to find rushing lanes? What genius ever thought about that? I mean, I'm sorry to be sarcastic and kind of an asshole, but it just comes like, TJ, that's the stuff that people are getting aggravated with this LSU coaching staff.
Yeah. Just not doing the simple things that it feels like they should be able to do.
Yes.
On Marcel Reed, Pavia last week made some pretty great plays on like broken plays, not design stuff, but he improvised really well and probably was the difference in the game, just him being able to do that. And I just wonder, there's no right or wrong answer to this, because until Reed's in that situation of a broken play, you don't know how he's going to perform in it. He's shown at times he can do it really well, and he's shown at other times he doesn't make the best decisions over his year and a half-ish of starting for them. So I do think that's a big key too, is, if Pavia doesn't make some of those kind of heroic plays, it's hard to know how that game ends up. Now, maybe LSU was just in a spot where they were going to find a way to lose one way or the other, and so it doesn't matter. But I think
Welcome to Baton Rouge, buddy.
Yeah. I think that's a big question too, because LSU will get home at times. They'll be close, but can he pull off? Can he replicate the same kind of magic that Pavia did last week? And again, I don't expect you to have like a here's his percent chance or anything like that, but it is something I'm watching for.
No, you're 1,000% spot on. Because what did Pavia do? It's not. I don't. Blake Baker had the perfect call. It did. Listen, this is going to sound so bad. Oh, Blake's not giving Pavia any credit. He made great plays, and I'm not taking that away from him at all. Please don't. When I say this, don't take this away. You called a slot blitz to contain a naked bootleg left. What else are you supposed to do?
Right.
And Perkins has got to be better at reading his keys and executing. Whitweek's not being in the game last year and not telling him what he needs to do. Hey, Perk, remember contain. I think it threw him off last week. I think that I got to be real with you. LSU fans are going to riot when I say this. I think Blake Baker called a really damn good game. I think the execution was bad. And I think, TJ, I got to be real with you. I see a lot of LSU defensively when they struggle playing me ball and not we ball. And you're getting out of assignment. You're getting out of alignment. Now, this defense is beat up. They're beat up to hell. And to be real with you, over the last 4 weeks, really just since the Florida game when this edge room started getting beat up, the film doesn't lie about what teams are doing like to Patrick Payton. I can name probably 20 times when we sit here on the projector and watch it on film, TJ, they're sliding to him every time. They're running away from him every time. And I'm like, okay, well, why is that? Oh, well, there he is. The one time that TJ, he got 2 pressures on Saturday. He got single blocked once. And I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. So I think that it's not really the play calling. Can you execute it? Now, last year, they lined up and ran it right at you, and they busted you in the mouth. I don't know if that happens this week. I think LSU's a lot more physical than they were a year ago. But if you do not keep contained, if you do not read your assignments perfectly, this team's going to absolutely destroy you. And I'm not worried about the physical play. TJ, a lot of this has been mental, a lack of want to in some instances. So if you don't execute and do the proper thing, he's going to beat you. He's going to light you up. And so that's the thing that worries me the most. I think Pavia did a great job, but I got to give Tim Beck, the OC for Vandy, a lot of credit. He just knew what LSU was going to run, and he knew that they wouldn't stay disciplined. And good on Pavia for executing what was called too.
Let me ask you quickly. I know you do a good job with Ruffino and Joe. Let me ask you about 3 other games nationally, and then we'll talk about this one and get out of here. Very contrasting styles here. This one should be a lot of fun just because of that. Ole Miss at Oklahoma. Who you like?
I'm taking Ole Miss. I still think Oklahoma. And listen, I know that. So me and Joe do something stupid every Wednesday. We pick the toughest games and make us do it against the spread, and everybody's like, your records suck. I'm like, all right. So we told some people, start picking it with us, and people are not even winning games. So I'm like, so the fact that we're actually winning games against the toughest, but this is the one that I'm staying away from the most. I can see Oklahoma and John Mateer, as he's getting healthier with that really good defense, do a lot of really good things. I also don't think that they can run the football at all.
Yeah.
And so their biggest weakness is your biggest weakness. So even if it's a wash, we'll see. I like Ole Miss. I think Lane is going to be prepared this week in reference to what Brent Venables and the Steel signing thing. I'm going to go with Ole Miss. I don't think they lose back-to-back road games. Maybe they do because of the lack of depth, and they played in like 85 plays last week defensively. Maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't pick either one, but I think it's going to be very, very close. I just don't trust Oklahoma, though.
Yeah, I do think their defense could be suffocating, but I just don't have any confidence in their offense right now. And maybe Mateer jumps back and they do a little bit better against a tired defense, but I kind of like Ole Miss there too. Can Vandy keep it rolling at home against Missouri?
I'm going with the Tigers, man. Eli Drinkwitz and company. I don't think Nashville's ready for back-to-back wins against top 10 opponents. I really think LSU got that run game going last week. So I know Vandy's top 15 in the country in run defense. I think Ahmad Hardy gets going. I don't think they're beating back-to-back ranked opponents like that. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe it's like Saban said. Maybe I can't look at Vandy and say that they're going to do it. I'm going to go Missouri. The thing that worries me with them, though, Bo Prabula has made some really, really bad decisions.
Yeah.
And I do wonder if Vandy could get after him, what happens there. But Vandy's a good team, but I'm going to go with Drinkwitz in Missouri. I think that run game really gets going.
Last one, and then we'll talk A&M LSU. USF, do they keep the group of 5 kind of lock on that playoff spot at Memphis?
Silverfield is somebody that nobody wants to talk about. Now, FedEx just dropped another $50 million. So I don't even know if he wants to leave there, TJ, to be blunt with you. I think coaches that want to leave get their names out there. I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, listen, this Memphis team, I mean, what have we learned about Arkansas? You know, Arkansas lost to Memphis, and everybody was like, oh, my God, oh, my God. They kind of held that offense that exploded against teams like A&M and others. They held them in the fourth quarter. And so, man, I think this one's a field goal game there at the end. I think this is who's going to be the G5 representative for the playoff, personally. I love Golish a lot. I like him a lot. I would lean them, but man, something's just telling me don't sleep on Memphis because I think that they really could get things going. We didn't pick this game on purpose because we had, but I would lean Memphis. I know that's probably what people want to hear. I love Golish to death. I just think Memphis is a little bit better in some areas, more athletically, but it would not surprise me at all if South Florida pulled this one out. I think this is who's going to be your G5 representative in the playoff, though.
Yeah, I'm picking 100% with my heart and not with my head and saying that I think USF, being the Tampa guy, does it, but I kind of like Memphis to cover and USF to win by like 2 or 3. Like, I think it's incredibly close and a fun game, and I hope it's a lot of fun. So,
I mean, dude, they had people running down Taylor Green, and I just saw a team last week in A&M who didn't have a chance.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, man. I guess we'll see. It's going to be, I really do believe that which one of these teams wins this game is going to be your G5 representative in the playoff.
And then the last one, A&M at LSU. Who you got?
Yeah, I'm going A&M. As much as it pains me to do it, I have zero faith. Like I've lost all faith. You're going to have to start showing me that you actually give a damn, like that you care. And do I think LSU can? Yeah, I think they got enough talent to beat this team. I do think people have questioned if A&M's really played a team that is good enough. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine and fair and everything, but have you converted on third downs efficiently enough? Has Garrett Nussmeier made right decisions? TJ, there's 2 teams in Power 4 football that haven't scored 25 points offensively this year, LSU and North Carolina. I don't think you can score enough. And so for that reason, because I don't think that you can even come close to scoring 30 this week, I think A&M can, and that's why I'm going to pick them to win and cover.
Blake, tell us a little bit about AYS and Ruffino and Joe.
Yep, AYS Sports will be live on Thursday, 7 p.m. or 6 p.m., excuse me. We do Keys to Victory, things I think LSU's got to do to win, and which I probably should just do the opposite, like I said earlier, because they never do it and they lose. And then Ruffino and Joe Show, just like you on College Football Addiction, you do a fantastic job. We just go around and talk about every game. That's the big matchups of the week. And I do think, TJ, people are sleepy on this week a little bit, but man, you got 2 teams or 4 teams in the SEC that if they lose, or they're playing one another, all playing one another, and one of those teams, some of this playoff elimination stuff is going to start happening this week. So you can go catch our Sunday show. We'll be live and breaking all that down.
Yeah, this slate. It's not the high-powered, insane slate that last week was, but there's like 3 or 4 really good noon games. We didn't even talk about Bama's at South Carolina, which they're in desperation mode. I like the Tide to win that, but Missouri Vandy also at 3:30, BYU, Iowa State at 3:30, and then obviously the night one with you guys. I mean, can Mississippi State pull some magic out against Texas? There's a lot of fun stuff this weekend. Even like a Baylor Cincinnati is not a terrible game to tune into. So there's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, I don't think a Manning's ever lost to Mississippi State, by the way. Little fact there, even though he's been god awful. So
I think they roll this week just because they have this tendency to play really well, really bad, really well, really bad. And so they snuck out of Kentucky. They'll beat Mississippi State, and then I don't know, whoever they play next week.
Hey man, I'll tell you this just in case like Florida State comes to the SEC, if they ever do that. You're never a true SEC team until you've gone to Lexington at night and sweated out a night game against them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, dude, that bourbon gets flowing and weird, goofy stuff starts happening. But yeah, I think Texas wins too.
Awesome. Appreciate you, Blake.
Thanks, TJ. We'll talk to you soon, man.